Hello, my name is Evan Freiberger, and this is Hurricane Beryl. It's still currently, technically, and this pun has been extremely overused on this storm, but it's still technically barreling in the Caribbean Ocean, as you can see. Still a pretty organized storm at this moment. Large eye, as it was earlier, this was when it was breaking yet another record. It was the first category, or the earliest Category 5 storm to ever happen in recorded history in the Atlantic Ocean. And now, somewhat thankfully, as someone has stated earlier, that this thing is downgrading a little bit, and it should technically, according to the forecast models, continue to downgrade. But if we zoom out here, kind of get a more of a zoomed out perspective, you can see that its path, if we let me wait for it to re-go here. I don't know why this is having such an issue. All the satellites are having issue with communicating the data, unfortunately. But yeah, if you take its path and kind of extrapolate it, you can see that it is making its way over there towards Jamaica next. So that's what we're going to be kind of talking about in this stream. We'll be talking about what this means for Jamaica, and then what this also means for the Yucatan Peninsula. And then we're going to start talking a little bit more seriously about United States impacts, as it does seem like the recent strengthening with this storm has kind of nudged almost all of the models a little bit further north, even the models that have been, indicating, a Mexico impact, the most likely scenario, that has shifted north with the strength of the storm. So we have a lot of things to kind of go over with this storm. And let me try to refresh this to see if we can get a cleaner run here at this, with this program. Nope. Not happening. It's not even loading. Oh, wait, there it goes. Will it go through the scans completely here? Yeah, there we go. A little bit better. Still struggling at the end there. I think something with the satellite is kind of skipping around there. But yeah, so it's still a very strong hurricane just because it's not a Category 5. This is currently at 155 miles per hour, which is only 2 miles per hour under a Category 5 strength hurricane. But, so it's still a very dangerous storm. But according to the latest models, this is supposed to weaken. So let's kind of go over some of the latest data with this storm on Hurricane Beryl. So let's kind of go over here to the National Hurricane Center website here. And as you can see, the latest update out from the Hurricane Center is this storm is sitting at 943 millibars, max sustained wind of 155 miles per hour, and yeah, so this thing is still pretty strong, and it's actually increased in its west-northwest movement. It was sitting around 20 miles per hour for a while, but now we are back over to 22 miles per hour. So this storm is chugging along and chugging along quite quickly. It's not just the strength of the storm that's fast, it's also the speed of the storm as well. Let's go kind of see what the latest forecast discussion is on this storm. So it says data from the national or the NOAA here and the Air Force Reserve Hurricane Hunter aircraft, along with the satellite imagery, suggests that Beryl peaked in intensity around 10 to 12 Z. Since then, the aircraft data show that the central pressure has slowly risen from 938 millibars, and that the maximum flight level winds have decreased a little. In addition, satellite imagery indicates some decay in cloud pattern based on the aircraft data. Initial intensity is set for 140 knots. So they're basically what they are saying here is that this storm is on a weakening trend, and it's probably peaked in intensity, but we are still talking about some potential substantial impacts and significant impacts for Jamaica. So we've got to watch out this storm in the Jamaica region. You guys got to be preparing now, because this thing is forecasted to be close to Jamaica, tomorrow, sometime between 7 and 7 p.m. So you guys got about 24 hours here to prepare for a major hurricane, and it's forecasted. So let's come back over to here really quick. It's forecasted to be Category 4 to Category 3 strength by the time it gets close to Jamaica. So over there, Kingston, Montego Bay. All of you guys need to be weather aware. And by the way, the webcam that's underneath me is in Kingston right now, and as you can see, it's still kind of sunny. It doesn't really seem like a hurricane is coming, but it is. And unfortunately, because this thing has been strengthening so much and has remained as strong as it has for as long as it has, it's taking a little bit more of a northerly path, which has kind of shifted the models a little bit more north towards the Jamaica area. So we'll be going over that as well in a little bit. But let's come back over here to the latest hurricane center data here. So let's come over here to the watches and warnings and the latest cone. And as you can see, this thing is forecasted to be a major hurricane, and Jamaica has now been put into a hurricane warning. Also, the Cayman Islands as well have also been put into a hurricane warning, and a tropical storm warning has been issued for the Dominican Republic and Haiti here, as we are expecting a decent amount of rainfall up there, and also the wind field on this storm is a little bit larger than expected, and it's a little bit more north than expected. So that's why these tropical storm force warnings have been issued for your area. You guys need to be taking those proper precautions to deal with that. Flooding is also going to be an issue up there in the Dominican Republic and Haiti. For Jamaica, though, we're going to be talking about storm surges up to 7 to 10 feet, potentially even higher there, especially on the southeastern coast of Jamaica, where it's kind of oriented just perfectly to get the most storm surge out of this storm, no matter what it ends up doing. I guess technically the best case scenario for storm surge would be a direct landfall a little bit further north, but that would be the worst case scenario for the landfall. But yeah, as you can see, the track has pretty much almost put Jamaica dead center in it. And Jamaica is kind of a bigger island, so there are only a couple scenarios that brings us to the south of Jamaica without making a direct land path and a landfall. But either way, it seems like hurricane force wind gusts are almost a guarantee no matter what this storm ends up doing. So that's the latest there on the track. Also, we have some updates over here for the rainfall. So it looks like 8 inches locally here along the southern coast here of the Dominican Republic is going to be possible. Also up there, 6 inches locally, kind of in the central areas there, probably along the mountains of the Dominican Republic there. And not a whole lot of rain for Haiti, except for down on the southeastern coast where we could see a pretty substantial amount of rain of 12 inches locally. Also 12 inches locally over there in the north, kind of eastern portion of the coast there for Jamaica. So a lot of folks need to be watching out for the potential for some flooding with this storm, as well as it pushes up to the north and west, and eventually also could see anywhere from 2 to 6 inches of rain in the Cayman Islands. And then as this pushes into the Yucatan Peninsula, got to watch out for that. Another thing that I wanted to point out here on this map is, look at this, on the very tail end of the cone of uncertainty. You can see that by Sunday, this thing's going to get a little bit uncomfortably close to the United States. And also, you can see that kind of this northern portion here. Let me make this a little bit smaller. The northern portion here of the storm is now reaching into southern Texas. So we've actually gotten quite a substantial shift in the spaghetti model plots that is definitely going to have to be paid attention to. We're still 5 days out, so a lot of things can change, but it does seem like the fact that, Hurricane Beryl was able to get so strong has definitely nudged the track of the storm quite significantly. How's everybody doing today? Hopefully, if everybody is doing well, and if you're from any of these areas that could be impacted, or at least if you think you're in the cone, let me know in chat as well. Doing good. That's good to know. I'm glad that you're doing all right. Evan is doing well. All right. Am I going to cover this while it hits Jamaica? Yeah, we are. We're going to cover it. Yeah, we're probably going to be putting more attention to hurricanes than severe weather, to be honest. I might still go live for Iowa, but that just depends on, it just depends on how long this stream goes. We might just transition at the end of the stream to severe weather coverage. Not exactly sure It's a pretty conditional threat up there in Iowa, and this is certainly a more pressing matter to a lot more people. But yeah, this thing is a beast. But yeah, so Southern Texas has got to watch out. You guys got to be weather aware. It does seem like this thing should be relatively weak, but we'll be going over that with a little bit more detail pretty much right now. So let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and kind of go into some of that information. So this is the current satellite imagery of the hurricane here, and you can see, although it has weakened a little bit, it's still got a lot of convection around kind of the central area of the eye here. You can see a lot of those, blacks and whites kind of circling around. Those are those really cold cloud tops, which is an indication that this is still a strong storm. One of the things that you can also see, though, is that some shear is really starting to impact this storm. You can really tell the shear is kind of making its way into the storm. One, because it's weakening it, but two, you can see these kind of clouds start to spread apart. That's the outflow of the storm kind of spreading apart as the shear kind of picks it up and then lifts it off to the north. So the shear is starting to impact the storm, which is why the general thought process is that, this should weaken, but at the same time, it's not always a guarantee that that does happen. Sometimes these storms can, especially when they're this strong, can battle the shear for a little bit, and how much and how the ability of the storms to battle the shear is kind of hard to predict. So I just want to let you guys know that. It's not a guarantee that this thing weakens significantly, but the common trend with these storms is that they do end up weakening. Sorry, I'm a little bit congested. I just had a sneeze attack. Has anybody in chat ever had a sneeze attack before, where you sneeze like 15 times in the matter of in the matter of like 10 minutes? One of the most annoying things. I get them like once every month or so. Yes. Yeah, I think it's because I got rice in my nose. Not exactly sure. As I was eating rice. Get annoyed by it. Yeah. At first it feels good. Like I like a good sneeze, but like after like the eighth time it starts to hurt a little bit. Yeah. It only lasts for like 10 minutes. So, but yeah, this is the current look at the storm. Definitely a strong looking storm there. So let's kind of move on from here. So these are the latest spaghetti model plots here. And yeah, as you can see, we before, about 160 hours out from this thing, most of the models were pointing towards Mexico. But now Mexico, believe it or not, is now the lesser of the probabilities here. It is not. It's not the most likely scenario anymore. As you can see, because of the strengthening of the storm, the models have shifted up to the north a little bit more. So that's not good. I think United States impact is a little bit more in the cards here. It seems like it's actually one of the most likely scenarios. It looks like, as of right now, most of the models are pointing at southern Texas landfall of this storm. But by this time, we're really not talking about, a strong hurricane, hopefully. But, again, we're still so far out. If we get another rapid intensification stage in the Gulf of Mexico, then, we're going to be talking about some more issues from there. But just know that we're not going to really know the strength until this thing goes to the Yucatan Peninsula. We'll have an understanding on it, but there's a lot of different things that could happen as it makes interactions with land. So just depends on what ends up happening after the fact, after it makes that landfall and then moves on into the Gulf of Mexico. So still a big question mark up here for intensity, but it does seem like the track is tightening up a little bit and tightening up in the wrong direction. So we really got to be watching out all the way, from northeastern Texas all the way, like pretty much the entire Gulf Coast of Texas. Needs to be paying attention to future forecasts. You guys don't need to be preparing for anything yet. Again, it could just be a weak tropical storm as it makes its way in, or it goes over the Yucatan Peninsula, kind of maintains some strength, and then gets into a little bit more favorable environment as it moves into the Gulf of Mexico. And then all of a sudden, you've got another hurricane kind of pushing into the United States. So just make sure that you guys are paying attention to future forecasts. It's not time to freak out yet, but it's certainly time to start paying attention if you live in some of these areas. Let's kind of look at some of the other spaghetti model plots over here. Oh yeah, other spaghetti model plot here, as you can see. Looks like a little bit more of a wider spread. This is the GEFS tracks. I don't think this is fully in because there's not that many ensemble members, and but as you can see, this one has a pretty wide spread here as well. More tracks to the north, even some bringing it into eastern Louisiana. Not sure how, accurate that's going to be. A little while before, I was pretty doubtful it was going to make it anywhere north of Mexico, but obviously, we weren't expecting this to become a Category 5 either. So this hurricane continues to kind of, break what we expect out of the storm. So we definitely got to watch all the way over here from Louisiana down into Texas here, according to this model. But again, not time to freak out for anything yet. This is just preliminary track data. All this is saying, it's not saying time to prepare, time to buy water and food. That's not what this is saying. What it's saying is it's time to start paying attention to future forecasts. Because again, as long as you have 3 days out from a storm to prepare, you will be all right. But let's kind of come back and then look at another spaghetti model plot. This one I think is a little bit more realistic here. Again, this one's not all the way in yet, so we'll check on these again in a little bit. But yeah, as you can see, this one also kind of has a similar model spread as the first one that we looked at. And as you can see, anywhere really from Houston down into southern Texas is where we are seeing this thing eventually try to track to. And it could, according to some of these models, even have a pressure of around in between 990 and 980 millibars, which would have it at hurricane strength. So again, definitely some interesting trends. Typically when you see a couple members, like if you see like only one or two of these spaghetti models veer off to the north, you ignore it. It's not really a big deal. But when you see a storm get a little bit stronger than was expected, and then immediately after you see these tracks all kind of in unison shift to the north, you got to pay attention to it. That means something. So definitely more likely of a chance that this makes it into the United States as some sort of tropical storm or hurricane after it goes over the Yucatan Peninsula. So that's one thing that we've really got to keep in mind there. And we'll go look at the models on that in a little bit. But this is the spaghetti model plot here for the intensity. Now, I would ignore these models. I don't know what they're on. They don't really seem to be accurate at all. But these ones down here, I think, is the most likely scenario. This is, it should weaken from here as it encounters more shear. Looks like for Jamaica, which should make landfall sometime within the next 24 to 36 hours. It looks like this, they're still keeping somewhere around Category 4 to Category 3 strength as it makes it close to Jamaica or over Jamaica. So still going to be a strong hurricane according to the latest model guidance as it approaches Jamaica. So I would definitely be on high alert there. It is time to prepare in Jamaica as this approaches. It's certainly, not a storm to mess around with. A lot of impacts could be coming to your area. Let me just double check when the hours are here. So 72 hours by the time it makes it to Yucatan. So let's go highlight that. So 72 hours. By the time this thing makes it over towards the Yucatan Peninsula, we're talking somewhere in between a Category 1 hurricane and a tropical storm. And then after it makes landfall, it weakens quite substantially. Now, the big question mark is does it pick back up in strength? Do the models start trending towards that kind of solution? Are we talking about a weak tropical storm, or are we talking about a Category 1 or 2 hurricane by the time this thing is in the Gulf? Or, are we even talking about any chances for rapid intensification? And we'll try to answer that on looking at the models, or get as close as we can. So this is the latest model guidance here. Let me bring this over to here so we can see it a little bit better. At least from here and then into the United States, there is the Category 4 hurricane right now, and as you can see, it's a little bit on the weak side, according to the GFS. So this is not necessarily accurate in terms of intensity. So don't really focus on the intensity too much. Just make sure that you guys are, keeping an eye on the track here. This is a deterministic model we'll be looking at, and we're going to be going, what we looked at were the ensembles with the tracks, and this is just a better understanding of where this thing is going. Sent me a can in southern Jamaica that I should keep. Thank you. I appreciate that, Bill. And also thank you for the $2. That helps out a lot. Thank you. But yeah, the GFS looks like it brings the hurricane directly into Jamaica there, right into the southern coast. and then kind of tracks off to the west. I mean, yeah, to the west towards near Cancun, actually. Also comes pretty close to the Cayman Islands as well, so definitely want to be weather aware. Could get some pretty intense winds and storm surge there, and then it is pretty a lot weaker, but still potentially a hurricane as it goes into the Yucatan Peninsula near Cancun. And then that pushes off over into the Gulf of Mexico. And then the GFS has this thing going into southern Texas. So there's one scenario there. Let's go over to the Euro. Take a look at that as well. So yeah, this the Euro has this kind of tracking. Wow. Yeah, that's not good. This goes directly into Jamaica, according to the Euro here. So yeah, that's two models saying it goes into Jamaica there, and then it tracks into the Yucatan Peninsula. Let's see if we can go a run back here, just to get a little bit further out into the future. And then the Euro actually still brings it into Mexico, so still a decently large spread between the models here. Ugh, I really hate that I'm so congested right now. It's like, it's weird. It's like building up in my nose, but I can't blow my nose. It's so annoying. Sneeze attacks are not fun. Yeah, let's go over to the CMC model here and kind of check it out. So yeah, looks like the CMC model also brings us pretty much directly into Jamaica. So that's three models there. It seems like it might be a pretty likely scenario that this goes into Jamaica. And then that pushes into the Yucatan Peninsula and then pushes up into Mexico as well. So that's two models that push it into Mexico. But again, remember, that these models are the strength are not that well. It's better to look at the ensembles for that. Looks like the Icon brings us into Jamaica as well, and then pushes off. Actually, also makes it into the Cayman Islands as well there, and then brings it into the Yucatan Peninsula, northern Yucatan Peninsula, and then pushes it, wow, all the way up into Louisiana. So there you go. You know, a wide a wide uncertainty still exists within the models, but as you can see, it's a higher probability that it goes somewhere in the southern United States there near Texas, up to near Texas or up to Louisiana than it is now for Mexico. So definitely want to be paying attention to future forecasts down the line here as this approaches. And this is only 135 hours out, so we are in some sort of range of accuracy. We're not talking about la la land anymore with these models runs. So we do have to pay attention to these scenarios as that track will tighten up over time. But yeah, so that's the latest there. Now let's go look at our hurricane models. We'll look at two here. And it gives us like a close-up view over the next 5 days of what this storm could do. So here it is, looking like at close to the right intensity. And yeah, unfortunately, the HWR ref brings this directly into Jamaica with those 100 and with that 950 millibar pressure there, which is just really not good. I was hoping that this was going to go south of Jamaica. That's what the models were saying, but you know, the storm strengthened to a category 5, lifted that trajectory of the storm a little bit further to the north, and now I think that it's a pretty likely scenario that Jamaica will feel either a direct landfall from this storm or potentially a close landfall. But even if it goes just a little bit to the south, you're still going to get the northern portion of the eye wall. So significant impacts are almost guaranteed here in southern Jamaica. So you definitely want to be preparing now, especially in southern Jamaica. You guys do have a decent mountain range here. So on the northern side of the island, the impact should be a little bit more minimal, but still could have some significant impacts up there as well in terms of flooding and also storm surge on the northern side of that. Not as bad, though, as down here to the south. I mean, the main area is going to be Kingston, there in this scenario where the worst storm surge could be. I mean, with this kind of strong storm here, we could be talking about 1 to 3 feet of storm. 10 to 13 feet of storm surge, maybe even higher with this kind of orientation to Kingston Bay. I mean, that would bring some very bad impacts there in terms of storm surge. So you definitely want to be near the beach with this storm. So let's kind of push this on. As you can see, this comes pretty close to. This is the Cayman Islands, right? Yeah, the Cayman Islands. Is that correct? I just want to double check. This is the Cayman Islands, right? 2 people have died from Hurricane Beryl. Oh no. Wait, is Tyler in the chat? Tyler, do you need a thumbnail for today? I'm so sorry I haven't been able to make it. for the past couple of live streams. I might be able to make it today, maybe. Is this a problem for the United States? It could be, yes. It could be. Seems like it's more likely than not going to go into the United States. Now, what the strength will be, we don't know that yet. Is BERYL still a Category 5? No, it is not a Category 5 anymore. It is a Category 4, but it's only 2 miles per hour. It's only 2 miles per hour from being a Category 5, so it's still a very strong storm. But yeah, you can see based on the winds here for Jamaica, those mountains really do shield the northern portion. I mean, we're only talking about tropical storm force winds, even with a direct landfall in the southern portion of the mountain of Jamaica there. But I mean, a lot of rainfall could be possible in this scenario. You joined Zello if I want to talk to you. Did you really join Zello finally after 8 years of asking? Go say hi to Tyler. What are you doing? But yeah, we got to watch this scenario here as this kind of pushes up to the north and east. Oh, looks like
You've been baby cow attacked. Move.
what does that even mean? So we got baby cow attacked. Whoops. But yeah, it looks like I think this is Cayman Island, right? Or are they up here? Let me double check this. Let me fact check this really quick. Cayman Island. Might have missed it if somebody sent in chat map. Just want to make sure my data is accurate here. So yeah, Grand Cayman is the island that has the closest path to this storm. That's Grand Cayman right there. So yeah, I mean, hurricane force winds could be possible with this scenario for Grand Cayman, but there's still a little bit more uncertainty about how far north this will be. But I would certainly be ready to prepare. Within the next 12 to 24 hours, as that becomes almost a little bit more obvious there. But then it's forecasted to track off to the north and east towards the northern Yucatan Peninsula here, close to Cancun. And then that kind of, as you see, as it interacts with land, it weakens quite a lot, but then kind of picks up strength a little bit. I mean, this model is pretty bullish. You see, there's Corpus Christi, I think, over there. And yeah, I mean, this is a 954 there in the Gulf of Mexico. But this is only one scenario. The other models had it weaker, just to keep that in mind. But let's go look at the HMUN. These are like the HRRR. The HRRR, like when you're talking about hurricane models here. So yeah, this is the latest HMUN, I think. And so this doesn't seem like the latest one. 12Z. It seems like old data. Huh. July 2nd is when it ran on 12Z. Is that right? Okay. Yeah. So this has it going just to the north of Jamaica. With a really small wind field, could bring some hurricane to tropical storm force wind gusts to the southern. But this right here would be the best case scenario for Jamaica. Given the probabilities that we have with the storm, this far south of a track is going to be our best case scenario for Jamaica. And then with that more southern track, it's also going to bring less impacts to the Cayman Island. So it looks like that last model we looked at was the worst case scenario for both the islands, and then this is the best case scenario. So just know there's still a little bit of model spread. It's not guaranteed impacts. There's still some scenarios that bring this to the south. But I still think the most likely scenario, just given the ensembles and the model runs, is it's looking pretty likely that it's going to go into or very close to Jamaica. I think this is actually an outlier on the models, but this one brings it into the Yucatan Peninsula, weakens significantly to a tropical storm, and then tries to re-strengthen, then goes into Mexico. So you can see that we're still getting these different scenarios here on the models, even our higher resolution models as well. So still some questions on what is to happen. Let's see if we got any aircraft in the area here. Now we do have one down there. What is this guy doing? So we just had our aircraft kind of pass through, and what did I just do? Where'd the airplane go? Barrel. I think it's finished. Yeah, our latest run here is finished. So we're not going to have an airplane out there in a while, but the last central pressure of the storm was measured at 944. In the lines of these storms, yeah. Charge devices, get cash, make a plan, get meds. You guys got to do all of that kind of stuff as the storm approaches. Again, this is a serious situation. If it comes this close to Jamaica, and it's still a Category 4 strength storm, it's going to bring some pretty significant impacts to Jamaica, especially over there in the Kingston area. If we look kind of at the coast here, you can see if this thing kind of tracks, right into like southern Jamaica, like some of these models are saying, it could bring storm surge very far up into the Kingston area. I mean, it's kind of perfectly positioned here to really cause some problems for Kingston. Also over here near Old Harbor, so a lot of storm surge. Anywhere between 7 to 10 feet of storm surge is going to be possible there for the Kingston area. So make sure that you guys are very weather aware. You could also get some pretty significant wind impacts there as well. Again, most of the models kind of bring this into southern Jamaica, and that would bring some of that the inner and outer wall winds into Kingston, and also a whole lot of storm surge as well. So this is a bad situation here for Kingston. Storm is so crazy, it's nuts. Yeah, it looked a little bit disorganized for a little bit, but it does seem like the hurricane is kind of reorganizing here a little bit. You live right in Old Harbor. Well, you got to be preparing. Again, today or right now, it is 1:32 my time. Chazzy, stop. It's 1:32 my time, and by 7 a.m., this thing's going to be bearing down on Jamaica, and by 7 p.m., it's already made landfall. So we're talking, just over 24 hours before this thing makes landfall. You guys still got to prepare. Now is the time to prepare. Again, this, even if it's not a Category 5, it's still going to be very impactful. And it seems like it's fighting that shear pretty well right now. Still kind of maintaining that eye and still maintaining a lot of convection around the center. 944 millibars is still a decently strength hurricane. I zoom out a bit, more perspective. Yeah. Let me put the cone on. Tropical weather. Cone, 120 hours here. And that sneeze attack really messed me up. Yeah, it could be a Category 4 by the time it makes it in there. Some models have it still Category 4, some models have it strong Category 3, but max gusts of 150 miles per hour are also going to be possible there. But as you can see, it's not a 100% guarantee, but I think we're about at a 60% chance that it makes direct landfall in or on Jamaica, and about a 40% chance that it goes to the south. But even in terms of eye wall impacts, where the most intense winds are, even if the storm goes as far south as this point right here, parts of the eye wall will scrape the southern side of Jamaica. So we can still see, it's about an 80%, or I would say about a 70% chance that Jamaica gets some portion of the eye wall. Well, you live in the Florida Keys, and it's not coming here. Yeah, it is not going to Florida. We could say that pretty much with 100% certainty. Yeah, that's the latest there. Let me take off the cone of uncertainty just so we can see the hurricane a little bit better here. But yeah, I mean, if you guys live in the United States, you've got to be watching out for this storm, especially in this portion of the United States. Again, we're not talking about most likely a very strong storm that comes up there, but this storm has surprised us in almost every on almost every aspect of the storm. So, we're starting to get that northerly shift to the track. The trends are moving more north with this. Hopefully, they move back south, and we really don't got to worry about this storm at all in the United States. But as of right now, we've seen pretty significant shift in the trend. So, anywhere within this circle, you don't need to be preparing, but you need to be watching for future forecasts just so you can stay up to date on what this storm is going to do. And if you would like to do that on this channel, make sure you're hitting that subscribe button and also hit that like button if you've enjoyed the information that we've communicated so far. Lafayette, Louisiana is due. Yeah, luckily, the amount of time in between when you've had a hurricane and the amount of time between when you've had a hurricane and when the next one happens is never consistent. So you're never actually due for anything. Don't need none of this in Alabama. Yeah, I think the chances of this hitting Alabama is pretty low right now. Pretty low. But yeah, I mean, it's I want to see. Oh yeah, I also got some stuff I want to show you guys. Let me go to my bookmarks here. I bookmarked a couple things for this hurricane. Oh yeah, so here is the center of the eye when it was a Category 5 hurricane. Check that out. Isn't that crazy? You see this? This is the stadium effect. Looks like a big old stadium. See the blue sky up here. You got the ocean is down here. If you were pretty much right in this point here, you could look straight up from the eye and see blue sky. Yeah, it's pretty incredible. It's definitely one of my dreams to fly in the Hurricane Hunter plane, and see this in real life. This is not only the only picture. Here's another photo as well from the Hurricane Hunters. Did they have the future track 500 miles south where they? So yeah, we have had a significant shift in the trends of the track. It looked like it was almost guaranteed to go into the Mexico, but the storm, because it has strengthened so much recently, and it hit Category 5 status, some of the dynamics that are going to be steering the storm are going to be a little bit less effective. And so, this thing could take a little bit more of a northerly track as it approaches, the Gulf of Mexico and after it goes into the Gulf of Mexico. So, something that we definitely got to see. Yeah, that's the stadium effect there. And then I bookmarked this too. It's just a cool little animation of how you can see all the way through the hurricane eye wall, or the hurricane eye, all the way down to the ocean. It's just incredible. This is a kind of summary here from Dr. Kim Wood of the satellite imagery and also the intensity. The yellow is Category 1 and the red is Category 5. And you can see just kind of how it's progressed since its birth. I mean, right there, that was rapid intensification there. And then it went through the Lesser Antilles and then blew up into a Category 5 strength storm. Hoosier Biscuits on the way there anyways. Yeah, I understand that. Yeah, this is the current look at Hurricane BERYL, and as you guys can see, it is still pretty strong. Let's kind of bring this back 30 frames, though. Wonder how many frames we can go back. Like, how far back into the past can we go on Radar Mega? Oh, we can go all the way back here. Well, that's awesome. Yeah, so this is where it was. It went through that rapid intensification, then it hit Category 4 about there, and then hit the Cayman Island, or hit the Lesser Antilles over there in the Grenadines, unfortunately, there as a strong Category 4. And then right around here is probably where it started to be a Category 5, but didn't have any planes in the area. And then it was pretty much right here where they put that Category 5 status. And this thing broke another record, becoming the earliest hurricane on record to become a Category 5 hurricane, which, it just hasn't, it's never happened before, at least as long as we've been recording hurricanes, which is crazy. This is the earliest on record. And man, you could really see that eye pretty clearly here. Look at that. See right through that eye. Got that convection wrapping around it in the black and white colors there. And see how symmetrical it is. It's just incredible. It's a very symmetrical storm. It's almost a perfect circle at this point here. And then it continues on to the east, and now you can see it starts to interact with some of that wind shear, and you can definitely tell that around the core, it's becoming a little bit less organized as of late. Still a decently circular eye, pretty clear eye. But yeah, you can see that convection is kind of getting a little bit. What's the best way to it looks like a little bit more spaghetti noodled. Like it doesn't really look like as organized, and then we almost lose that intense convection altogether. But then as of recently, it seems like this thing might be trying to make an attempt at firing more convection. But I mean, look at the eye now. The eye is now a lot less symmetrical. So, definitely a little bit of weakening is occurring with the storm right now. The Gulf temps are very warm. Yeah, the Gulf temps are pretty warm. Let's go look at the latest data on the Gulf of Mexico temperatures. That's a good point. Let me bring that up. Ocean analysis, we'll go here. Should be one just for the Gulf of Mexico, I think. Western Atlantic, yeah. So the Gulf of Mexico temperatures are pretty warm, but not where this thing is forecasted. Oh, man. Man, if we get the storm come up in this region here, and we get any instances of a lack of shear, we've got 30 to 31 degrees Celsius temperatures here. So it'll most likely hit Yucatan Peninsula. If it takes that more northerly track, it's still got 29 degrees Celsius, pretty much all within this area here to feed off of. And then if it tracks up into this 29, 30 degree temperatures and the shear is not really that strong, that's almost a guarantee there of rapid intensification. Almost a guarantee right before it makes landfall. So rapid intensification potential here along the coast here is high if we have a low shear environment. So that's one of the factors we've got to watch out for and be expecting for last minute intensification. I mean, look over here in Louisiana. We've got like 31 degrees Celsius, which is really hot ocean temperatures. That's like jet fuel for a hurricane. They're right near the coast. So whatever strength it is over here going into Louisiana, if it does take that track, that would be a really bad scenario there as well. But I think the worst scenario would be if this thing kind of tracks kind of just like this, and then takes like a more northerly turn and spends about as long of a time as possible in these very hot temperatures here. If it does that exact track, even with a decent amount of shear, this thing could strengthen quite a bit. So that I think would be the worst case scenario. If it enters here and is continuing on a northerly track towards parts of Louisiana, that would be the worst case scenario with this storm. But again, we don't really know what it's going to do up here just yet. We're just kind of taking a look at the data here and just kind of trying to, give you guys an understanding of that. These temperatures are primed up here. Also, before BERYL makes landfall here in Jamaica, there's also a decent little uptick there of some water temperatures as well around the Jamaica area. And this is why the storm has been able to get so strong. I mean, the entire Caribbean here is pretty darn hot all the way up into the Gulf of Mexico. So definitely going to watch what the storm does and watch the shear environment here to see whether or not this thing is going to be a problem for the United States or not. Houston is also there as well, yes. Yeah, Houston, Corpus Christi, Louisiana are all within that kind of uncertainty on the It's all in that uncertainty in terms of the path of the storm right now. Just a quick little update for everybody that just tuned in. We'll kind of go back over that data here. This is the latest cone of uncertainty. And as you can see, it just has Texas in it right now, but that doesn't tell you the whole story here. So let's kind of, because this is a very far away, this is kind of a conservative forecast here. But here is the spaghetti model plots, and this is what makes that data there. And as you can see, on probably some of our best models that we've got out there for hurricanes, it looks like most of these models bring it up kind of into southern Texas. That right now is the most likely scenario. But again, the trend is to the north. So the big question is whether or not, this trend continues to push up to the north. If it continues to push up to the north, then it's going to be more of an issue a little bit further up to the north, maybe for, like closer to the Houston area. But if it just kind of sits right here and then consolidates into if it sits right here and consolidates into a pretty small path here as we get closer, then it'll probably be the main issue. For the biggest city down there would be Corpus Christi. So this is just one ensemble here. So let's go look at the other ensembles. This is the GEFS ensemble, and you can see there's still a pretty wide spread here going into Louisiana there and going into Mexico. So still a lot of uncertainty with this path. But, basically what the models are telling us right now is that, hey, if you live in any of these areas, you need to be paying attention to future forecasts just to make sure that you are up to date on the path of this. You don't want to let your guard down there. Not really expecting any other, areas out here to have to watch future forecasts. It does kind of seem like unless the northern kind of trend continues here over the next the trend shift continues here over the next couple of hours. Coming back down to here, you can see that this model here also has that wider model spread there as well. So it seems like Louisiana is kind of an unlikely scenario at this point. So hopefully we don't get a hurricane doing that worst case scenario there. That seems like a very low chance probability scenario there. It seems like the highest chance will be somewhere, at least for now, between Houston and southern Texas, with Houston being a little bit less likely than southern Texas. So, that's kind of how it's looking right now. Just pay attention to future forecasts. Again, I want to stress, and I cannot say this enough, guys, it is not time to be buying, water. It's not time to be buying food. It's not time to be freaking out about this storm if you're on the Texas coast. It's just not. It's just time to pay attention. Again, you only need about 3 days in advance to prepare for this. If you need to evacuate, you need like 2 days. So just know you got plenty of time. You don't need to be freaking about this just yet. Because let's do another scenario. Let's say you live in Houston and you freak out now. What's gonna happen? Well, you go outside, you go to your grocery store, you buy a bunch of toilet paper, buy a bunch of water, buy a bunch of food. You spend about $2,000 on that stuff, and then all of a sudden, the tracks consolidate down here to southern Texas. What happens? You're down 200 grand. I mean, $2,000 for no reason. Oops. Wrong screen. Have I been doing that the whole time? Shoot. My bad. Whoops the daisies. Yeah, let's say you live in Houston and with this one model track here, you're like, oh, I'm gonna freak out, start buying water and food, and I'm gonna really prepare for this storm. And you do that today, and then the models consolidate down here. You're out $2,000. Yeah, but the majority of people, Bill, is not millionaires. Okay, but yeah, so you're out $2,000, and you got no money. You got no monies left, and that's how it feels for most of the population. You spend $2,000, you ain't got nothing left. And in fact, you could be in debt at that point. So, that's why it is not time to freak out. We're too far out to freak out. So all you got to do is just pay attention to future forecasts and you'll be all right. How long was I on the wrong screen? Or was it from the very beginning? Oh, geez, Louise. I'm a doofus. A mosquito. I'm a doofus. All right. It looks like that. This has pretty much come in fully here. This one still hasn't come in. All right. All right. We'll briefly go over it. Yeah, but for everybody that's just in here again, you can see that the model spread, the model trends are shifting well to the north. Well to the north. That is because the hurricane was stronger than it was before. And you can see the model spread goes all the way from Houston down into southern Texas. And even some models are trying to shift this thing as far north as Louisiana. So, a lot of areas out here don't need to be preparing. You don't need to be freaking out. You need to be paying attention to future forecasts. Because again, you only need 3 days to prepare for a hurricane. If it is even going to be a hurricane, we don't really have a good understanding of what the strength of this is going to be. It really just depends on the track. But as you can see, actually, one of these tracks is the worst case scenario there. That'd be the worst. That'd be the worst case scenario in terms of the amount of heat that is in the area out here in the oceans. But I didn't even know that was there. I think that just came in. But anyways, but yeah, still a wide spread on the model, so it's not time to freak out. But everybody on the Texas coast needs to be paying attention to future forecasts, according to this ensemble here. Now, according to this ensemble, it's not really in yet. It's saying kind of the same thing. Everywhere from Mexico to Houston needs to be paying attention to future forecasts. And then over here, you can see this one is saying the GEFS ensemble is saying everyone from Louisiana down into central Mexico needs to be paying attention. So still a large spread. That's why, it's not time to freak out just yet. If we had a spread like this, so it'll be about 48 hours before it makes landfall, where the spread will be pretty certain in where this is going. 24 hours, it will tighten up quite significantly. So we will have a better idea of where this is going the closer it gets to landfall, typically between 72 hours out. So probably within the next 3 days, we'll know the potential intensity. Are we talking about a major hurricane or just a hurricane or just a tropical storm? And we'll know of a pretty good idea of where this thing is going. But right now, I just want to paint the picture for you guys, as a lot of people are going to see this, and then on YouTube, they're going to start going crazy. On TikTok, they're going to start going crazy. On Twitter, they're going to start going crazy. They're going to go, oh my God, a Category 6 hurricane is going to hit Louisiana. We got to get all the crawfish cooked and prepare now. Oh no. So I'm just giving y'all the reality here so you can prepare yourself to sift through the information, because there's going to be a lot. There's going to be a lot. Whenever we get any of these, guidances shift to the United States, they go crazy with it. So everybody's going to be telling you pretty much from today forward to prepare now. But I'm telling you right now, do not freak out until we get closer, because all that's going to do is put a huge hole in your pocket that has a pretty high chance of you not even needing it. Because again, this hurricane, let's come back over here to the big screen here. This hurricane's wind field is tiny right now. It will expand as we get closer, but the hurricane force winds are not that spread out, and it's probably not going to be overly spread out either. At max, the hurricane force winds will probably be at max 100 miles wide. So this coast here. Let's see how large the coast is of Texas going into Louisiana. Take this. So that's 100, 200. Yeah, we're talking about 500-600 miles of coast. So, and then the core of the winds, the eye wall, will be at max 50 to 100 miles. And there you go. So, very low chance that you spend that money now and you actually have to use those supplies. So please do not freak out yet. It's just too early. But the people that do kind of need to be panicking, or not panicking, but freaking out, well, actually not freaking out, but be preparing, is Jamaica. Jamaica needs to be preparing right now. This is the view in Jamaica. Let's see if we can see anybody preparing. I wish I had a view of inside of a grocery store. If anybody can find a camera of inside of a grocery store, please send that to me. This is in Kingston City. This is one of the areas that are going to be potentially in the eye of the storm as it approaches. We are gathering all the webcams right now. This is not a Category 5 right now, no. Yeah, this is the view in Kingston. Can't see anybody preparing. I'm obviously joking. We're too high up here to see anything. But man, finding a webcam right in front of a grocery store would be wild. Yeah, if you live in Kingston, you need to be going to the grocery store. You need to be preparing. You need to be buying extra water. You need to be charging your devices. If you have a way to evacuate, I would. But I mean, there's not really many places you can go. I would not suggest going to Haiti. Thank you, Natalie. I appreciate that. Yeah, I spend a lot of time researching literally everything about this storm before I go live to just make sure that I can data dump like crazy on you guys. So you leave my forecast with more answers than questions. Which category is it now? It is a category. It's a category 4 hurricane with 155 mile per hour wind. So just 2 miles per hour underneath a category 5 storm. But it's category 4 right now. Did I say category 5? My bad. If I said category 5, that was a misspeak. It's category 4. It's 2 miles per hour under category 5, so not really much of a difference. I guarantee you, if you got hit by this storm right now, you wouldn't be sitting there saying, wow, yeah, I can definitely tell the difference between this storm right now and a category 5. I can feel the difference between those 2 mile per hour winds. It's just not something that's realistic. No, it's not a category 5 anymore. It just got downgraded. As a 2 p.m. So that would be 1 p.m. here. So about an hour ago, it just got downgraded to a category 4, but it's still a strong category 4, 155 mile per hour winds on it. What time is this storm expected? So for Jamaica, it is expected anywhere between probably, like 3 or 4 p.m. There for Jamaica. And then the Yucatan Peninsula, we're talking sometime on the 4th, in between the 4th and the 5th. Should be a lot weaker of a storm there. We probably won't do coverage for the Cancun or for the Yucatan Peninsula. Cayman Islands, though, there's still a chance that you guys could get a direct hit by the storm. And it should be somewhere around a category 2 strength storm, unless we get a surprise and it's staying a category 3 for a little bit longer than we expected, which is totally in the books. And then for the United States, it's going to be so probably the 8th or the 9th, if it does make that northern turn and pushes towards the United States. This cam is pretty good. I agree. It's a good cam. If it can survive until like the eye wall, this will be a great cam to have. That's what we're trying to do. We're going to try to get as many cams as possible in this area, just so that we can have the highest chance of being able to see something. I think another good thing to do is try to see if Jamaica has a traffic cam network as well. Yeah, you want to be ready in Jamaica. This thing has a high likelihood of having a high impact in Jamaica. I would say about a 70% chance of getting some eye wall strength winds. Because remember, even if this thing goes just to the south of Jamaica, you still could get those eye wall winds on the southern portion of Jamaica, and lots of heavy rains as well. We're talking about up to a foot of rain in some parts, maybe even more. Yeah, just keep sending me those cams on Twitter here. If anybody in chat finds any cams, send it to me on my DMs or tag me in a Twitter post. and we'll put it all on a list. But yeah, Bill, if you, oh, by the way, I didn't see this, but thank you, Canvas and Crime, for gifting 5 memberships. Thank you so much. Let me just make sure I didn't miss any super chats or anything. Yeah, I thank Bill as well. Okay. But yeah, thank you, Canvas and Crime. If you guys got a membership from Canvas and Crime, make sure you are saying thank you in chat. Yeah, well, we'll be watching this cam closely. Look, the wind's already starting to pick up a little bit. Trees are starting to shake. That's not from the storm, but it is a little bit windy over there already. See, there's a lot of traffic. I think there's a lot of traffic out here because people are driving and preparing for the storm. Look how many cars are out. Yeah, it's kind of eerie if you ask me. Knowing like all these people probably know they are in the path of this hurricane right now, and they're all preparing. And this is what it looks like now, but after it comes through, it's going to look completely different. A little eerie. Yeah, sometime between like 3 and 5 p.m. Jamaica time. Type 1 in the chat if you are from Jamaica. This is Radar Omega. We certainly hope they know. I hope so too. I definitely hope so. I mean, this could be a pretty strong, a pretty strong storm for Jamaica. Again, if we zoom in here to the to Jamaica, you could see that landfall is definitely a possibility. We could get direct landfall, and this thing's going to be anywhere between a Category 4 and a Category 3 storm. You're here in Montego Bay, and let me see where that is. Yeah, you're on the northern side. So the worst case scenario for there is if this takes a northerly track and you get that southern eye wall. But the most likely scenario is that it stays to your south and the mountains kind of shield the northern part. But you can still get some impacts up there in terms of power outages and flooding. So I would definitely be aware for this storm. But it seems like the highest impacts from this storm, the worst case scenario would be a landfall kind of over here near Old Harbor, putting Kingston in that path of the worst winds and the worst storm surge altogether. That would be pretty much the worst case scenario there. Because Kingston's a pretty populated area. I think that's the capital, if I'm not mistaken, for Jamaica. So a lot of people live out there. You're from Spanish Town, which is in its path. Excited and terrified. I'd be terrified or focused. I think that's the best way to do it. I'd be focused there. I would not be excited. It's not going to be an exciting storm. That excitement will go once you see this eye right next to the island. That excitement is going to disappear. So I would be just focused and getting prepared. This is going to be a strong storm. People are preparing. That's good news. Yeah, hopefully, I'll be doing it now because the longer you wait, the more likely there's going to be shortages. And again, this is an island. This is an island. So restocking supplies after they're gone is going to be a lot harder. So you better start now before all the supplies are gone. You shouldn't, honestly, just to give you a little bit of word of advice, I would be getting those supplies right now instead of watching this stream. You can put my stream on your car radio if you want, if you got an aux cord, but I would be getting supplies. Storm is a ripper. Yeah, it is. Let me see if there's a recon plane, like if we got any more recon planes scheduled or taken off. Hopefully we can get some more information on this storm during this stream. Yeah, so we did just have a plane take off from Mississippi going towards BERYL. So it'll be a little bit. It'll be a little bit before we get another update there on the strength and intensity. But current looks on satellite, it's still looking like a pretty healthy storm. It is battling some shear. The eye's a little bit less symmetrical, but so it is. I do think it's still in the process of weakening, but we won't know for sure until a plane gets out there. How do you get the hurricane to show up on Radar Mega? You go to satellite, and then you go up here, and it'll have a tab for it. This is the 3D view of the hurricane. Just kind of for scale, this is what it looks like in 3D as it approaches Jamaica. The main core of the winds being in this region here. That's where those hurricane force winds would be. When is it expected to reach Jamaica? It's expected to reach Jamaica sometime between like 3 and 5 p.m. But that time could obviously shift. And man, we still have this thing, I think, this thing's still going north of the track. It's still kind of going north of the track. It's been consistently staying north of the track every time I look at this storm. Some stores are out of water. Yeah, if you guys see any like news stories, please share them to me, like in terms on Twitter. No, tomorrow. Did I say today? Sorry, tomorrow. My bad. But what was I saying? Yeah, if you guys see any news stories, my Twitter link is in the chat. Please, please send me any news stories that you guys are getting in the area so that we can share them to the rest of the folks that are watching here from Jamaica. And then further down the line here, the next people that are going to be hyper weather aware is going to be Grand Cayman Island there. And the impact shouldn't be as bad, but it's still going to be pretty impactful. And then the Yucatan Peninsula. Let me see if we're getting any news stories out of the area. And we're getting a lot of cams coming in here. Perfect. All right. You were put under elevated. Okay. A little breezy in Montego Bay. Yeah, it is a little breezy there. Last time we looked at this camera in Kingston, it was a little breezy, but that's not from the storm itself. It's kind of I would say it's more of the gradient winds that are probably in between the storm and that little that little area of higher pressure, which should bring that higher wind shear. That should help to slowly weaken this storm into the future here. So you're probably getting winds from the interaction between this storm and the gradient winds from the high pressure in between there. You get some pressure differences that are a lot closer together, and then that causes the winds to increase. Yeah, the only thing stopping is the shear. The waters are like 29 degrees Celsius in this area. It's not headed for Costa Rica, I don't think. Where is Costa Rica? Yeah, I don't think it's headed to Costa Rica. I haven't heard of that. I don't know where Costa Rica is, but where is Costa Rica? Let me just double check. Pretty sure if it was headed to Costa Rica, we would know by now. Yeah, no. It'll be fine there in Costa Rica. I promise. Yeah, as you can see, we do have a lot of activity here as people are preparing as it comes. Still a lot of traffic, a lot of car traffic happening here as people are preparing for the storm as it approaches. Westmoreland, where is that located? Let me see where Westmoreland is. Westmoreland. That's not showing up on my map. Is that in Jamaica? Let me see if it's in Jamaica. Yeah, I don't know where that is. Let me. Yeah, is that in Jamaica? Alberto and Chris. Yeah, but luckily those are pretty weak storms. Yeah, the wind shear is weakening this storm right now. You can actually see it interacting with the storm. We're seeing more thunderstorm activity out in this region. That's that outflow of the storm kind of interacting with that wind shear. Typically get more convection on the northern side but I mean this storm is still pretty organized. I mean you can see the eye is getting a little bit less organized. We still got a lot of convection around that eye. So it's still a pretty a decently organized storm. When we do have a plane that is taken off from Mississippi, it'll probably be over there within the next couple of hours, so it might be a while. What the heck? We have damage reports out of Puerto Rico. I didn't even know we had damage reports come in from this area. We got emergency managers reported fallen tree that affected power lines. And then at least a dozen tents were damaged due to strong winds. So yeah, it looks like Puerto Rico is getting some pretty strong winds, even this far away, most likely from thunderstorms that are forming on the northern portion of this storm. This is radar Omega. Westmoreland is in the Jamaica to the western area. Okay, let me see if I can find it on the map. Westmoreland. Is that over here near here? There's West End. I'm not seeing the city, but the western portion of Jamaica will have potential for some significant storm surge here near the Petersville area. And also, if it takes that track through Jamaica, could get some flooding over there and also some pretty strong winds, potentially of up to Category 3 strength winds there, according to the latest model runs. Will this hit Texas? It's in the realm of possibilities. It's not time to freak out about it just yet. Again, it's not going to be, I don't think it's going to be as strong as it is now. But again, the waters off of Texas are primed for hurricane strengthening. Just depends on what the shear is like as the storm approaches, which is a little bit too far out to determine the strength. It does seem like, though, we are getting a northerly shift in some of the trends of the models, the spaghetti model plots. And you guys are going to definitely need to at least be paying attention to future forecasts as the storm approaches. South Coast is in trouble. Yeah, I would say the highest chances of the most significant impacts are going to be South Coast, especially over here near Kingston and Old Harbor, where that storm surge could be pretty intense, just due to the orientation of the coast here to where the strongest storm surge could be on this storm. Yeah, over here near, how do you pronounce that? I really don't want to pronounce this the wrong way. But yeah, stronger winds could be possible over here near this city. So just make sure that you guys are preparing as well. They could have up to Category 3 force winds there of 120 miles per hour. Please, can I track this on my phone? You should be able to track it on your phone. If you, I mean, there's other apps, there's free apps. I would say the best resource that you could use to track this is just is this link right here. I would put this link, this right here. I'd put this link in your phone. This is the best resource that you can get in terms of information for free. You know, like for Radar Mega, you have to pay. But if you want free information, you don't want to pay to get life-saving information, I understand. And this is a free website here. All you got to do is come down to this area, find where it says Hurricane Beryl, and then you want to see the latest path prediction. You go to this where you see the cone. If you want the latest rainfalls, you come here. It'll tell you locally. It'll also tell you in millimeters if you use those. Um, and yeah, if you want to know if you're in a hurricane warning, you come here. And you can also see how large the wind field is. And if you want to get into the nerdy side of it and read the forecast discussion, you click here. Also, the key messages as well. This is the key messages, by the way. We haven't gone over this. Beryl is forecasted to remain a powerful hurricane as it moves across the Caribbean Sea. Hurricane warning is in effect for Jamaica, where hurricane conditions are expected on Wednesday. Tropical storm warning is also in effect for the south coast of Hispaniola, and the hurricane watch is in effect for the Cayman Islands and southwestern peninsula of Haiti. Heavy rainfall and flash flooding are likely over much of Jamaica and southern Hispaniola through late Wednesday. Interest in Belize and Yucatan Peninsula, Cuba, and southwestern Gulf of Mexico should monitor the progress of Beryl. Additional watches and warnings will likely be required later today or Wednesday. What were the peak winds of this overnight? I think it was 165 miles per hour and 200 mile per hour wind gusts, which this thing still has 200 mile per hour wind gusts, by the way, even though it's been downgraded quite a bit. But they still have measured 200 mile per hour wind gusts within this storm, which is bonkers. 200 mile per hour wind gust is as strong as an EF5 tornado. Nagril. Okay. So this is pronounced Nagril. But yeah, over there in Nagril, could have some stronger winds over there, especially if this tracks kind of on the southern portion. You guys could get the northern portion of that eye and potentially get some pretty strong winds, anywhere from 70 to 100 mile per hour winds could be possible up there, and also some storm surge near Little Bay, south of Nagril. Is this still a Cat 5? No, it is not a Cat 5 anymore. No. I don't think so, or at least it wasn't about a half an hour ago. Yeah. This does hit Texas. What inland impacts would there be? If this does hit Texas, it's hard to tell. Definitely some storm surge, some sort of winds, but again, the intensity of the storm, is hard to tell at this point, that far out. So I wouldn't be too focused on that. We'll know a lot more data in terms of what kind of hurricane or tropical storm to expect, and whether or not it is going to hit Texas or not. Again, it's not a guarantee that it hits Texas yet, but that is the most likely scenario, at least on today's spaghetti models. Now, if we come over to here and kind of look at today's spaghetti model plots, here on this tab, you can see there is quite the northern shift further down the line. We still have a lot of models bringing into Mexico, but we do have a pretty substantial northern shift here in the models that just kind of came in today. Actually, last night as well. Same with this model, pretty decent northern shift here on the GEFS ensemble tracks. There's still a lot of scenarios where this does go into Mexico. But we do have a northern trend starting to set up on this storm that needs to be watched for the United States. It's in Jamaica. Yeah. I'm glad it's not coming to Florida. Yeah, me too. Florida needs a break. You guys have been getting pretty much all of the most damaging hurricanes over the past couple of years. So, yeah, I agree. Florida needs a break, but this is going to be a pretty active hurricane season. This is just our first strong hurricane of the year, and the fact that it's happened this far, this early, and has been this strong, I think that's a red flag for this year. So, just because this one's not going to impact you this time, definitely don't let your guard down and still be preparing out there with this storm. Not with this storm, but still be preparing for the season. Sorry, is in Southwest Jamaica. Yeah, gotcha. Do hurricanes create storms inland? Yeah, I mean we're probably already getting some. We've probably already gotten some thunderstorms up there in the Dominican Republic, and the eye is all the way down here. Even got some more storms possibly about to go into the Dominican Republic. But if this thing is a hurricane as it hits land, even if it goes into like southern Mexico, we could have a pretty elevated tornado threat over here near the Corpus Christi area. If it goes up into like Houston, a tornado threat could develop here on the northeastern side of the storm. Just depends on what the storm is looking like as it gets there. If it's more compact, that tornado threat would be more isolated. If it's a kind of a more broad storm, broad system, then that tornado impact could be a little bit bigger. No tornado for Puerto Rico. Yeah, it seems like most of the thunderstorm activity has moved off to your east or west, but it does seem like you guys did get some damage reports here, and there are some reports of power outages from some of the thunderstorms that just came through. Like we just had one there go through Guanica here, and a dozen tents were damaged due to strong winds there at PR 305. Tents were part of an agricultural festival that was to be held there from July 4th to July 7th. And that was the outer rain bands from Hurricane Beryl reached inland there and caused some damage. So we could get some damage out and away from this thing just with the thunderstorms that are forming up here. So, I'd be weather aware from today going into tomorrow here in the Dominican Republic in Haiti for those thunderstorms on the outer bands of this storm, as they are producing some damage and power outages. What's the best case scenario? That this thing just gets sheared apart now and falls apart to a category 2. And then by the time it hits, Mexico, it's a tropical storm. By the time it hits, the Gulf of Mexico, it runs into a big area of shear, shears it apart, and then we see it go into Mexico as a very weak storm. That's the best case scenario. Worst case scenario is that for some reason the storm fights the shear for really long. This goes into Jamaica as a strong category 4, continues, takes too long to weaken, hits Yucatan Peninsula as a category 2, category 3 hurricane, re-enters the Gulf with a category 1 strength, and then takes this in this exact path, and then hits Louisiana as a category 5. That's the worst case scenario. That's like also, especially the further we got out there, that is the least likely scenario. But again, for this hurricane season, if any hurricane takes that path, it's going to be a strong one, because we've got 30 degrees Celsius to 31 degrees Celsius all in this area. And if one sits over there in this exact trajectory, it's going to be over that for like a day and a half. You get a low shear environment with that. That is not a good scenario at all. Let's hope that doesn't happen. I would hope. Yeah, that's the worst. But you asked for the best and worst case. So there you go. We do a Chaz cam? No. He's a little grouchy. He didn't like the last 2 times that we did the Chaz cam, so. By the way, guys, if you're just tuning in, please hit that subscribe button and like button. We're talking a lot about Jamaica. We even got a cam here in Jamaica. So when you hit that like button, hopefully this gets recommended to more people in Jamaica. If you live in Jamaica, be sharing this stream. Again, this is actually important. Something that I don't say enough, but if you live in Jamaica, you need to be sharing this stream on all your social medias. I am here to answer your questions as long as I can see them. So if you live in Jamaica, you've got to be sharing this stream to your social medias. You got to help us reach people in Jamaica. Jamaica does have YouTube, so hitting the like button also helps with that process of reaching people in Jamaica. And if you want coverage when this thing is close to landfall, we will be live for that as well. So make sure to hit the subscribe button to get notified for that live stream. You have many friends in Westmoreland? Yeah. I've heard of a couple people that do have some friends out here in Jamaica. I still haven't been able to find the exact city. Let me try searching it as one word. Oh, there it is. Apparently that's Westmoreland. Is that correct? Doesn't seem correct. It might be correct. It's not a city. Oh, hey guys, I'm from the United States. Give me a break here. I'm trying my best. The eye wall is so small. Yeah, the eye is getting small again. And I think that's because it's weakening. I still currently at this moment. I still think this is on a weakening trend, but I'm trying to wait until the hurricane hunters go out there and give us a better understanding of what the current winds are like, which should happen over the next couple of hours. The latest update on the recon aircraft is that it just left Mississippi and it's still in the Gulf of Mexico, so it's going to take it a while for it to get all the way out here, unless we get another plane launch from closer. All right, well, it seems like we got a lot of people here from Jamaica. So make sure you guys are sharing this stream on your social medias. Because again, if you have family in Jamaica or you have a lot of friends in Jamaica or you yourself live in Jamaica, when you share it on your social media, you're going to be reaching people in Jamaica, which will help us give the information that people have or give answers to the questions that the people have in the area. Jamaican mountainous, yes. So right here in this region of Jamaica, there is a decently sized mountain. And actually, if this thing makes landfall in southern Jamaica, these mountains will shield the northern portion of Jamaica with the from the worst winds here. So that's like that's it's going to help a little bit, but it's also going to cause some orographic lift, and that will produce some locally heavier rainfall than if Jamaica was just flat. So it's a double-edged sword, but still could, even with landfall in southern Jamaica, still could get some tropical storm force to even hurricane force wind gusts at times. So Caribbean islands has parishes in towns, not cities. Okay, gotcha. Thank you. Yeah, this is not the only cam we'll have tomorrow when we do live coverage. But this is one of the cams that we have here in Kingston. And as you can see, if you look out there, like where it would probably be most helpful to watch is the roads. As there's a lot of people out and about here, as people are in their kind of beginning stages of preparing here, because today I think has been the first day that we could say that it's a pretty likely scenario that Jamaica gets some portion of the eye of the storm here. Best case scenario is it goes way south than what is expected. But the most likely scenario is that southern Jamaica gets some portion of either the northern eye wall or all of the eye wall. Yeah, prep is in full force. Yeah, there's this one. I'm waiting for this camera to pan to the street because it zooms in to the traffic, and you can see everybody kind of driving around. Yeah, right here. You can see there's actually still heavy traffic in this region right here. Still a lot of people out and about and driving. All of these folks are preparing for the storm, and I wish them the best of luck. I can't even imagine being in this situation. Can't even. Because the one bad part about Jamaica is it is an island. And if you guys aren't fully stocked on groceries out there, they're going to run out. The gas is going to run out. And probably shortages are going to start to be reported pretty widespread here pretty soon. So, I'd get it. I'd go out there and get it while you can. Yeah, look at that. This is almost a full-on traffic jam here. Is it going to hit Louisiana? That's on the lower end of the probabilities right now. But southeastern Louisiana are in the path of some of the spaghetti model plots. It's a little bit too early. Supermarkets are crowded in a mad rush. Yeah. Let me see if I can get any like images out of Jamaica here from Twitter. Jamaica supermarket. Oh my gosh. Yeah, nothing. Never mind. I saw an image of a supermarket uh from an earthquake a long time ago. Jamaica shortages. Do we have any reports of shortages yet? I'm not sure if Twitter's the best place to be searching for this. Yeah, no news on the Jamaica on there's not a lot of Jamaica news on Twitter right now, unfortunately. Further down the line, the intensity is a little bit uncertain, so like we don't really know how strong this thing will be. So, as of right now, our only information that we have is the spaghetti model plots, and which are giving some indication of where this thing is going after it goes into the Gulf of Mexico. We pull that up, and it seems like the most likely scenario is somewhere in between Mexico and Houston, as of right now. There is some there are some models indicating that Louisiana could potentially have a landfall scenario, as you can see on this model here. A couple of them going to Louisiana, and as of the last few days, a lot of these ensembles have shifted to the north. So, if that northerly trend continues, we might see those probabilities get a little bit higher for Louisiana, and a little bit higher for Texas. But, we're kind of in that beginning stages here of where the models are really going to start to hone in on where this thing is going after it goes over the Yucatan Peninsula. But there's a lot of uncertainty because when you have landfall in the Yucatan Peninsula, the hurricane gets a lot less organized, and it starts to kind of fall apart. And then where that eye reforms is very crucial, or where the center of pressure reforms is very crucial to just how strong this storm is. But it seems like the strongest scenarios, though, are for the Louisiana area if it does go up that far north, where all that, and it's right before landfall, which is where those hottest water temperatures are. So seems like, if it goes into Texas, at least as of right now, some of the intensities are indicating, anywhere from category or from tropical storm to a category 3 hurricane. So, we'll have to watch it. We'll have to watch it. All of these scenarios are still technically possible here. And so we just gotta wait to see this model spread get a little bit shorter. But again, I do want to emphasize that it is not time for any of the folks in this circle here to prepare. It is not time. All this means here is that you just got to pay attention to future forecasts. That's all it means. If we get a Cat 5, I hope not. I hope not, we're not talking about strengthening like that. But this storm's been pretty unpredictable in terms of its strength. So we'll have to see. Yeah, latest satellite scan looks like the eye is continuing to shrink here. Let's go check on the lower level water vapor. Yeah, it's still a little dry in there too. So, it's still a pretty organized storm, but I got a feeling by the time the Hurricane Hunter makes it out there, we might get another downgrade, at least on the wind speeds. I think it'll probably still be a category 4, but I think the wind speeds might have tacked down a little bit, but we'll have to see. It's hard to tell just by looking at satellite. 155 miles per hour is nothing to sneeze at. No, not at all. Again, a category 5 hurricane is 157 miles per hour. So, if you got a 157 miles per hour and a 155-mile-per-hour storm hit you one after the other, you wouldn't be able to tell the difference. It would feel the exact same. Now wrapping around the storm, lightning starts occurring. Does this mean it's steadily re-strengthening? That could be an indication of that. But again, we're not going to know until the hurricane hunters get out there. It kind of looks a little, it looks organized-ish, but it doesn't look as organized as it did earlier. So, it could just be holding. I think the most likely scenario is that this thing is holding on to its current strength or weakening a little bit. I really hope we don't see this thing make another run at a category 5. I don't think that's in the books. somewhere that the eye wall was clocked in around 7 this morning. That was flight level data. Flight level is a lot higher in the atmosphere, so that's not an indication of how strong the winds are at the surface. But that being said, this storm does have potential to right now have 200-mile-per-hour wind gusts at the surface. He will be noticing whether it drops or not. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the last Hurricane Hunter plane that went through here, every time it passed the center of the storm, the pressure was going up, which means it was weakening. And our next Hurricane Hunter plane should be there within the next couple of hours. I'm not sure if I'll still be live by then. I'm thinking about just keeping this live going for a while, just to try to reach as many people in Jamaica and answer questions about that. Jazzy. Yeah. There was no, there was only, I think there was only one model initially that was saying this thing was going to become a Category 5. And yeah, I mean, there was no agreement on a Category 5 hurricane, and here it is, or here it was a little while ago as a Category 5. So, this has been a pretty unpredictable storm. What's a storm surge? Could be anywhere from 10 to 14 feet if it's still a Category 4, especially for the areas where the water can get funneled in. Like if this thing goes in like this direction, just like this, and you get that outer band of a hurricane force that water into this little channel here, you get some locally pretty high storm surge. Hey, thank you, Weasel and Joel, for subscribing. I appreciate that. Welcome. Glad you found us. By the way, guys, again, if you're in Jamaica, make sure you are sharing this stream to your social media so that we can reach more people in Jamaica. Again, you have friends, family members, all sorts of people out here are looking for information on this storm, and you sharing your stream could help somebody. Push somebody that might be thinking, it's not going to be a big deal, into taking the storm seriously and actually preparing, which could be life-saving. Jazz needs to go potty. No, someone just rang the doorbell. Can we highlight the area of Jamaica we are most worried about? Yes. The area that I am most worried about here is Kingston over into this area here. That's the area where I'm most worried about. And I would say the most significant impacts would happen in here, because that's where you're going to get that storm surge maximized and also the winds maximized. So really from anywhere in here, that's where the storm surge is going to be maximized, and then the winds are going to be maximized right in this area as well. So that is the areas that I'm most concerned about. If this thing makes landfall in the southern portions of Jamaica, we have these mountain ranges here that will shield the northern portions of Jamaica from the strongest winds. But that being said, you could still get anywhere from tropical storm to hurricane force wind gusts still on the northern coast of Jamaica. So I would still certainly be weather aware there as well and be taking some precautions. But I would say our most likely scenario here of the worst impacts is going to be from Kingston to north of Alligator Pond, right on the southern portion of those mountains. When's the next NHC update? What time is it? Oh, my time is frozen again. Hold on, let me unfreeze my time. It always freezes like 8 billion times a stream. Let me see. The last update was that. So the next update is going to be in about an hour and a half. About an hour and a half. So it's gonna be a little bit. And I don't think the plane's gonna be there before, so we probably won't see too much of a change, except for like the path of the storm. This has not happened in recorded history before, by the way. What do you mean, Robert? Like this thing got to a Category 5? Yeah, thank you, everybody, for saying bless you. I appreciate that. I've been sneezing a lot today. I'm not sure if it's allergies or what. No, I think it's just the strength of the storm. So this storm, the most recent, so this one became the first Category 4 to ever form in June, and now it's also holds a new record of being the earliest Category 5 on record in the Atlantic. So it's breaking 2 records now, potentially more. There's probably more records that it's broken that I'm just not aware of, but I think those are the most significant records that it's breaking. Hey, thank you, a guy named DJ, James, Surface, Morla, and George for subscribing. I do appreciate that. Yeah, we all need to be working together, especially if you live in Jamaica, to share this stream. Because if we can get a lot of people from Jamaica, we can also give that coverage tomorrow, and a lot of people can tune in there. But unfortunately, once the storm gets started and the power goes out, no one's going to be watching the stream from Jamaica. So there will be a crucial time before it makes landfall, and then after that, all the power is going to go out for probably most of the island, if I had to guess. Yeah, the eye is still kind of on the northern portion of this track. Hasn't really been wobbling too much. Yeah, this is a worst case scenario here, I would say, for Jamaica. I mean, obviously, you could probably get a stronger storm than this, but I mean, to have, a close pass or a landfall there in Jamaica is going to be not good. Who told Beryl about Texas borders being open? Ay, ay, ay. Yeah, yeah, we got to watch Texas up to Louisiana, but it's not time to prepare up there again. Please do not start preparing up there. I'll tell you when it's time to prepare. Chazzy, enough. How many hours do we have before it hits Jamaica? So we're expecting it to be pretty close to landfall by around 2 to 3 p.m. It should make landfall sometime in between 3 and 5 p.m., but those times are going to shift around subtly before we get there. Chazzy, enough. We're just nervous on Texas. Understandable. I understand it's a little bit nerve-wracking, and it's okay to be nervous. I mean, we are, within the 7-day range of it impacting somewhere from Mexico to Texas, maybe a small chance there of Louisiana. Hey, thank you, Shua, David, and Chris for subscribing. Welcome. How do you survive a hurricane? Well, the best thing to do, I would say, for Jamaica would be to go north. Go north. Get up in the northern, get on the other side of these mountains here. The best way to survive is evacuating where the most likely area of landfall is, getting out of its path. And in Jamaica's, uh, in the Jamaica area, you guys have a little bit of a blessing here in terms of these mountains being here. They will shield the northern side from the worst winds if it makes a southern landfall. So I would go north and I would get up here. That would be, the best way to survive. Definitely want to you definitely want to be just away from the coast too. If you're near the coast, especially over here near like Old Harbor in Kingston, you guys want to be well north of the coast. You want to be away from the coast. The worst place you can be is at the coast because you're getting those strong winds and also that very dangerous storm surge. Where's Jojo Bean? Jojo Bean is out there barking as well. I didn't know we had Jojo Bean fans in the chat. What about the naval base? Some strong thunderstorms could impact again. We've seen some stronger thunderstorms even as far north as Puerto Rico, where we even have some damage reports from emergency managers, fallen trees. power outages, and also tents destroyed and damage at an agricultural festival from a thunderstorm that came through earlier there in southwestern Puerto Rico. And then some of those thunderstorms could push into the Dominican Republic and Haiti as well. So those might eventually also try to push into parts of Cuba as well, as that tracks up to the north, and also the Caymans. Brownsville all the way up to Houston. Don't fall asleep. Yeah, yeah. I mean, essentially, all you got to do is just pay attention. So here's my alert for you guys in this circle. Right, this alert. We're in the pay attention to forecast alert stage. Pay attention to forecasts. I'm giving you guys a PATF alert. All right, that's all you got to do. Just pay attention to the forecast. It is not time to freak out. Stay subscribed to this channel, and I will tell you when it's time to prepare. I'm not gonna, sugarcoat it when it's bad, and I am not gonna lie to you when it's not bad. So if you want a reliable source that's gonna tell you, when it's time to prepare, so you don't waste a crap ton of money on preparing, subscribing to this channel can save you money. Computer kicked you off. What? That's weird. Can you show the future GFS in the Euro? We can show a couple of models. We do have some hurricane models on this, I think. Yeah, we do have some hurricane models. We'll go here. So here's the latest HMON model. You can see it has this tracking kind of in a worst case scenario here for Kingston with that storm surge and getting that northern portion of the eye wall. And then the main eye goes into Alligator Pond. And then we get some pretty significant winds still there in like the Petersfield, Montego Bay area there. And then it tracks off to the east. I would say this model is like the worst case scenario because it also impacts the Grand Caymans with that northern eye wall. It's a lot bigger, so those winds are going to be a lot more widespread, bring a decent amount of storm surge to the Cayman Islands. As that it should be a Category 2 hurricane at that point. And then this pushes off towards Playa del Carmen, also there near Cancun as well. And then that pushes off to the east. And then this thing brings it well north. As you can see, some of the hurricane models are picking up on that northerly jog as well. And then from this point, this is as far as the model goes. I mean, this could go anywhere. So as you can see, that trend continues on the latest hurricane model forecast here to go north. We'll check the HMON as well. This one, at least the last time we checked it, the last run was the best case scenario, I think, for Jamaica. Yeah, this thing tracks well south of Jamaica and still brings some storm surge and some damaging winds, potentially up to hurricane force wind gusts, but it stays well south. And this is also the best case scenario for the Caymans, as it's well south. Still could get some tornado threat, waterspout threat there. Same thing with Jamaica. And then it really weakens as it gets into the Yucatan Peninsula, and then it pushes off to the north and east and comes pretty close to Texas, but actually makes landfall in Mexico as a weaker storm. So you could see big model spread on the high definition models right now. So again, that's why we're highlighting, if you guys live in these areas, you're just in a pay attention to forecast alert, and that's it. That's all you got to be doing right now. No need to freak out just yet. There's no guarantee that this thing is going to impact you. So we just got to wait until this gets a little bit closer. But for Jamaica, we know pretty well. Yeah, the trend is your friend, and unfortunately, I don't want to be friends with the trend anymore. Everybody put the middle finger emoji if you live on the Texas coast to the trend. You can tell the trend to go F off. Let's go check back Let's go check back with our camera here in Kingston. I do want to see if we can get another shot of that traffic come in. Yeah, we're going to organize all those cams after this stream is over. You're in central Jamaica? Well, welcome to the stream. I'm glad you found us. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel because we will be live covering landfall on this until your power goes out. No, this is not a Category 5 anymore. It's a strong Category 2, or strong Category 4 right now. It's about 2 miles per hour underneath Category 5 strength. Might be even weaker, though. Oh, that's good. We got some unity. Unity in the chat. You're a Bears fan. Okay, thanks for letting us know, Robert. Honestly, yeah, hopefully it continues to downgrade as it gets closer to land. That's what we're hoping. That's what we're hoping. But we keep on hoping that, and it keeps not happening fast enough. All right, we should get a shot of that traffic here shortly. Can I show the spaghetti models? Yeah, we'll show that in just a moment. I want to get a shot of the traffic here in Kingston, Jamaica. And then we'll go look at the spaghetti models. I just want to see if we still got a lot of traffic in the region. And by the way, when this thing makes landfall tomorrow, we're gonna have a bunch of webcams in the area. Thank you, Christina, Mr. A, My Camp Rules, Dream Team, Lacey, and DJ for subscribing. The next hurricane update comes in in about an hour and 8 minutes. We'll be live until then, but I don't think we're going to see any major changes given the fact that we don't have a plane out there right now. Yeah, earliest Category 5 on record. It's crazy. And it broke that record by like 2 weeks, which is substantial. Substantial to note. Yeah, traffic everywhere right now. But there's a shot on this camera where it zooms into the traffic, so where we can see it. It's good to show people, especially that live in Jamaica, the traffic conditions, because a lot of people are probably still considering preparing or currently preparing. It's in the realm of possibilities, Nikki. So we're watching. We'll be waiting for the latest models on that. Yeah, we'll come back to this when it pulls it back up. Looks like we're starting to get severe thunderstorm warnings in Iowa. Yeah, it looks like the severe weather is getting started up here. Let's go look at it really quick. It's even got a tornado possible tag on it already. Not seeing any strong rotation on these storms, though. Just kind of a mess. Quarter-sized hail. 60-mile-per-hour winds could be possible there near Des Moines. We are expecting some significant severe weather up there, but this to me is a more pressing matter, so I'm probably going to spend most of the day talking about this, and then we'll talk about the the severe weather if it gets to that point to where we have to. Yeah, hurricanes can also bring tornadoes. It's usually on the northwestern quadrant, but you can still get water spouts up here sometimes in the northern quadrant of the storm. Yeah, if you live anywhere in Jamaica, you need to be ready for this storm. Also over here in like Haiti near Jeremy Les Cayes. Oh gosh, and Vilvo. You guys need to be ready and aware up there as well. Yeah, over here, northeastern. Did I say western? So bad it. But I did put the hand over the correct area. I just said the wrong words. The latest satellite scans here still looks like the eye is struggling on this storm. Still decent amount of convection around the eye, but the eye does seem to be. We might be in an eye replacement cycle right now. That is potential. Is it category 3? It'll either be a category 4 or a category 3 at landfall. It just depends on what this storm does pretty much today going into tomorrow morning. As it is getting impacted by that shear that's in the area, but it's still hanging in there. Afraid to say, I think it's going to go to the Gulf and hit the United States. I mean, that's what the trends are right now. I promised you guys I was going to look at the spaghetti model plot, so let's look at that again. Here's the latest spaghetti model plots. The latest spaghetti model plots are pushing this thing into the, at least on this model, pushing it into the Gulf of Mexico. But, for the past couple of days, by the time it gets in the Gulf of Mexico, the majority of the spaghetti model plots on all of the spaghetti model plot guidance has been pushing it into Mexico, with the lower chances being up further, to the north. But now you can see a lot of those tracks are starting to shift to the north. So we got to watch that trend and see if it continues, at least on this track guidance here. And then we have the GEFS ensembles here, and you can see that it has a even wider scenario here, with most of the tracks kind of going into northern Mexico and southern Texas, with some less likely scenarios circled in this area. And then this one still hasn't finished its run, but it also has a pretty wide range now. So we are getting some northern track with some of these model runs that we do have to keep an eye on as the storm approaches the Gulf of Mexico. But we're just not at that point yet on where we can say for anybody it's time to prepare. And thank you, Ed and Nicole, for subscribing. Welcome. Glad you found us. Yeah, just stay safe, have a plan. And over here in Jamaica, yes, it is time to prepare. It is time to prepare. It is time to start buying supplies as this thing approaches. Global warming has a million factors. Yeah, yeah. I mean, one thing, you technically can't say that global warming caused a storm, but I do believe that, like, if the oceans weren't this hot, because again, we've had record ocean temperatures for a while, and that uptrend on the ocean temperatures has been caused, by emissions put into the atmosphere. I don't think this would be I don't think it would have hit a category 5 status without that increased warmth. But did it cause the hurricane to happen? No, but I did think it did play some role in some strengthening here. I think this thing probably would have been like a category 1, category 2 without those increased ocean temperatures, which global warming does play a pretty significant factor in. Mainly for hurricanes, where that the most impacts. Like, I remember 10 years ago, rapid intensification would happen maybe once a year. Now it happens like 5, 6 times a year. So we've definitely got an increase of that, and that's because of the increased warmth in the ocean. And we get surprises and less model accuracy because of that ocean warmth and how difficult it is to measure that at depth across the entire ocean. So Puerto Rico is super hot. Yeah, you guys are probably getting a decent amount of humidity after those. Yeah, because it's still kind of peak heating hours. So you guys had those thunderstorms come through, and now you got a bunch of humidity kind of hanging out in your area. And so, as the day heats up, it's going to feel pretty muggy out there. I wonder if there's like a Jamaica radar. It's probably something we should search for. Jamaica radar. Let's see. Yeah. Help. If you've been able to find any, like, I want it from like a Jamaica government radar or government site, if there is a radar there. Jamaica. I don't know. I can't find it. 130 Celsius? No, it's not that hot there. Storms are blowing up in Iowa. I wouldn't say blowing up. That's such a dumb sorry. Such it's not a dumb thing to say. It's such an exaggeration. It's not blowing up. Nothing's blowing up in Iowa. You got storms forming, but they're not blowing up. It's just a fear mongery term that people use. It's not blowing up. There's no explosions happening in Iowa. There's storms forming, and they're still quite weak. No rotations on them. I hate that term. I'm sorry. It's not you. You probably just repeat it because somebody has said it to you so many times, but I personally, it's just a pet peeve when people go, the storm is exploding. It's blowing up. It's a nuclear storm. I just hate that kind of rhetoric. I like to keep it. I'd keep it a little bit calmer on this channel, but a lot of people they do use that term, so it's not on you. But I'm just saying, I just hate it when people say that kind of stuff. Thank you, Tracy, Fresh, Swiffer, and Dusty. Because like if you're just sitting here just putting big terms on a storm, you know, instead of like actually going into depth about what these specific impacts are, you're not really helping anybody. If you're just sitting here and being like, "Wow, this is a massive storm. It's huge. It's so powerful. It's incredible. Yeah, unbelievable. It's insane." Like it's okay to call it all those terms, but if that's all you're doing the entire forecast, you're just you're wasting everybody's time. I try to put a focus on answering people's questions in my chat rather than trying to blow a storm out of proportion. You're in Trinidad? Oh, well, I'm glad I could help you, Nicole. Glad I can help you. Yeah, we're all that's the main focus. I try to keep my eye on chat like constantly because people got thank, thank you, Emberlin. Storms are forming in Iowa. Oh, thank you. He took the constructive criticism. I'm sorry. I got a little bit spicy there at the beginning, but I pulled it back. Yeah, another severe thunderstorm warning in Iowa. Global warming is a. Oh, okay, gotcha. Um, Data and emotion can indeed have a healthy relationship. Yeah, it can. Oh, it does. Because data, you know, is not emotional, but portraying the data, trying to explain the data to somebody that doesn't understand the data with too much emotion, can cause them to kind of not understand the data. Because again, not everybody is a hurricane expert. Not everybody has a really good understanding of how hurricanes work. And so, when you blow it out of proportion, technically they're reacting to the data in a way that isn't uh, accurate. Like some people just blow storms way out of proportion, and it's like, and it's not very helpful to the general public. This one is actually a strong storm, so we do have to talk about those impacts. Vibes with a little bit of spice. There you go, and everything nice. Powder puff girls. Do I have a view of the hurricane? What do you mean? Like inside the hurricane? No. There's no cams in the path. The only cam that we have that's anywhere nearby is in Jamaica. And that's this camera right here. We've been watching the traffic conditions in the area every now and then. Hopefully we can get another traffic view, but I haven't really been paying attention to the cam enough. Yeah, we have tons of cams. I just haven't implemented them all yet. I'm going to do that tonight in preparation for tomorrow's live stream on the landfall of the hurricane in Jamaica. Which, by the way, if you guys live in Jamaica, you need to be sharing the stream. We'll give them as accurate as information as possible. And if you share the stream to your social medias, the chances of me being able to reach people on the Jamaica island go up exponentially. So please share the stream so that we can reach as many people as possible. Because, I mean, it is time to prepare there in Jamaica. And we need to be trying to reach as many people as possible. And if you actually live in the Jamaica area, you're going to help us out tremendously. I cannot express just how much that helps us out and get that message out there on this storm. AST, so somewhere, I think Jamaica is still in AST, if I'm correct, in that time zone. So it should be like, anywhere between 3 to 5 p.m. AST for landfall, if it does end up trying to make landfall there in Jamaica. Mainstream news is a very bad job of covering because it causes mass panic. Exactly. That's the purpose of independent news, is to kind of just wade through the data with you guys, and you can get it, as depending on who you're watching, you can get a pretty unbiased view on the weather. And I think that's really cool that can exist. With different kind of platforms out there. Yeah, AST is equal to Eastern time. Yes. Okay, there's that traffic view. Okay, not as congested as it was a little bit earlier. A little bit earlier, we had tons of traffic here, but man, people are still out and about here in Jamaica, trying to prepare as the hurricane approaches. This is just kind of that initial view here of before the hurricane comes into this area. It's a pretty beautiful area right now, but you can tell it's muggy. It's pretty muggy there with all that haze. It's probably a lot of that leftover moisture. The clock is about 7 seconds slow. No, it's right on time for me, but there is a very small delay on the stream, which is also, by the way, why we don't have closed captioning on this stream, because when you have the smallest delay, you can't do closed captioning. YouTube doesn't let you. But I'm thinking about getting a program that can just do closed captioning, but I don't think that's going to be very helpful. I don't know. Not everybody wants closed captioning on. The calm before the storm. Well, I wouldn't say calm. People there. I mean, there are reports that we're already starting to get shortages out there. People are really starting to stock up, and people are probably not very calm there right now. But yeah, the weather is calm before the storm. Calm is more of a human emotion. Let me just double check the National Hurricane. Yeah, still no new updates on the National Hurricane Center. Let's see where that plane is at. Is that plane getting any closer? Yeah, slowly but surely. The plane is still in the Gulf of Mexico. It's probably going to be a couple of hours before it makes it to the hurricane. So we probably won't get I doubt we'll get a significant update on the hurricane. Yeah. We're getting all those live cams. Don't worry. We've got a huge list of webcams that we got to go through tonight. We've pretty much found as many as we can in the area already, and more are streaming in. But if you guys find some cams that you do want to send in, here's my Twitter there. ATMs are basically empty in Kingston. That is interesting. I didn't even think about that. Because you do want to have cash on hand, because when the power goes out, you can't really use a credit card. So you do want to have cash on hand, but if the ATMs have no more cash, that could be a big problem. If you live, yeah, if you live in Old Harbor, there's a pretty high chance there that you're going to see some significant impacts out of this storm. So I would, yeah, definitely be preparing. Cash is still king, yeah, especially when there's no where there's no electricity. It is king for sure. You want to have a little bit of extra cash. I want to keep the live until this touches Jamaica. I don't think that is possible at this time. But we will definitely be going live bright and early tomorrow. I show some wind shear models. I've been struggling to find those for some reason on at least the program that I use for that. Let me see if I can find it. All right, here we go. Yeah, so these are the wind shear anomalies. Here, well, actually, probably shouldn't look at anomalies. Probably should look at just the wind shear. There we go. So this is the wind shear here, and as the storm approaches Jamaica, it's going to be interacting with a decent amount of wind shear, like the yellows and the reds. That's higher wind shear, and that should lower the strength of the storm. But then it's going to have a brief period here where it's kind of just, it's interacting with a little bit of wind shear. And then, depending on where this little kind of frontal boundary in the United States, how low it drapes down, and, will really, and also the high pressure system over here as well, will try to help steer the storm a little bit further north. But yeah, I mean, there should be a decent amount of wind shear interacting with the storm as it pushes north. If it goes kind of up a little bit further north, it might have a little bit less wind shear. But yeah, it seems like really from here on out, it's going to be interacting with a little bit more wind shear. So that should keep the strength at bay. But we with the temperatures that are near Texas, near the surface, that is certainly possible that this thing still tries to do some sort of rapid intensification somewhere in the Gulf of Mexico. It just depends on where it goes. And as of right now, we just don't have a definite idea of where this thing is going to go after it goes into the Gulf of Mexico. It's very windy at Sandy Bay. Where is that? Is that in Jamaica? Oh, they do give wind speed that's experienced on the ground. Westmoreland could have some decent impacts. As far as I can understand, though, that you guys are, it does seem like you guys are kind of in a valley of some sort in Westmoreland. So it should be, you should have that barrier there from the mountains, which might keep the winds a little bit on the lower end. But I would certainly still be prepared for power outages there and flooding rain. So have a plan in place to seek higher ground. Latest satellite scans of this storm are still keeping it north of the center line here. Still north. It's been north of the center line for a pretty decent time. It kind of seems like it's making a little bit of a wobble to the south, potentially. Yes, a small jog to the south there on some of the latest scans. Tornado watch has been issued. I don't think we got any people's from. Is there anybody from Iowa in the chat? Let me know. If so, we'll go over the tornado watch. I don't think there's anybody in this chat that's from Iowa. There might be a couple. By the way, guys, if you haven't liked this stream yet, please hit that like button. Helps us reach more people in the path of these storms and also tells us that we're doing a good job. And also, the subscribe button is right next to the like button, and it's free. If you guys want to stay up to date all the way up until this makes landfall, we'll be doing another update most likely tonight on the storm. And also, we'll be live tomorrow morning, sometime tomorrow morning to cover this storm as it approaches landfall. You're on Mars. Please give me an update on the tornado. Yeah, that is the least of your worries there on Mars. You're probably dying of radiation right now, so probably watch out for that. And also that fine dust you're probably inhaling, and it is clogging up your lungs as we speak. There's only like a couple people from Iowa. There are people from Iowa in the chat, so we'll go over it really quickly here. So we do just have a tornado watch issued over here in Iowa. It's going to be for Ames, Des Moines, Ottumwa, Kirksville, Keokuk, Burlington, Iowa City, Cedar Rapids, Davenport, and Clinton. Guys need to be watching out for tornadoes. The current radar view over there, we'll check that out real quick as well. Current radar view over here, got some storms forming. None of them really have much organized rotation at all right now. Kind of looks like a messy little scenario here, but the wind shear should be increasing from here on out for these storms. So some of these storms will have some tornado potential. If you live in Trenton, Centerville, Ottumwa, Iowa City, Cedar Rapids, and Anamosa, you guys need to be weather aware as these storms approach. I haven't really had a chance to look at the kinematics in the area. I might do that on the side. I probably won't show you guys them, but I will talk about them here in a little bit. Let me bring that up. SPC hourly mesoanalysis. This sector. All right, let's see what we got. We got a lot of instability out there. 2 to 5,000 Cape there in northern Missouri and southern Iowa. Mixed layers not capped out. Not really seeing much of a cap at all in the area. Wind shear is kind of low, though. Well ventilated, though, in the upper levels. So that should allow some of these storms to try to rotate. Let's check the surface vorticity, which can be a pretty important parameter, especially for Iowa. Yeah, we got a lot of surface vorticity in 3 Cape there in southern Iowa and northern Missouri. So that's probably where that, and then these storms are traveling even into a little bit more of a favorable environment as it gets into southeastern Iowa. So, or at least for the vorticity, the 3 Cape is a little bit lower over there. But yeah, it seems like anywhere from now until about 3 hours from now, it's going to be the height of that severe weather threat. Damaging winds, large hail, and tornadoes are all going to be possible with these storms. A couple tornadoes possible, scattered hail of up to 2-inch size possible, and scattered gusts of up to 70 miles per hour. What category is the hurricane? This is currently a Category 4 hurricane with 155 mile per hour winds and 200 mile per hour max winds gusts. So those are the maximum velocities on this storm right now. The latest satellite imagery is still has the eye just a little bit north of the path still. And is still trying to, kind of move to the northeast right now. And, we're watching out here and preparing here in Jamaica as it's going to come either right into Jamaica or just to the south of Jamaica. Both scenarios will bring significant impacts to Jamaica. Could not imagine a 200 mile per hour wind gust. That's good. Means you haven't seen it, so you can't imagine it. They look like a bunch of giraffes. They kind of do. This is the port here in Kingston, Jamaica. And these things are used to take off the big shipping containers off of a cargo ship. And yeah, you can see they do kind of look like giraffes. Hey, Max, are you still watching, Max? If you want, you can hop in a Discord call and join this forecast if you want. We can uh, pass back and forth some or what we're thinking on it if you want. If you're bored, but I'm sure Max is probably preparing for Iowa, if I had to guess, which is probably what I should be doing. But I'm only going to initiate a live stream for there if that tornado threat starts to materialize. Yeah, 200-mile-per-hour wind gust is like a EF5 tornado. Yep. Not as much lift in those winds. They're more straight line, but could certainly cause a decent amount of damage. Do I chase hurricanes? I want to this year. I want to chase at least one. Hey, thank you, Wendy, for the $10 donation. Thank you so much. Praying for Jamaica to stay safe. Yeah. Thoughts and prayers go out to Jamaica. Hopefully, everyone makes it through okay. What about St. Catherine? What portion of Jamaica is that in? Let's go back over here to the big screen because I'm not seeing it on the map. Let me try searching for it. St. Catherine, Jamaica. Okay, it's over there near Spanish Town. Yeah, you're in that area where we're really watching out for. If we do get a direct landfall from this storm, it'll most likely be somewhere in this area. So yeah, St. Catherine, we've got to watch out. You know, I would try to get on the other side of the mountains. Because again, these mountains will give a pretty good barrier to the northern part of the island if we get a direct landfall here. And again, it could be anywhere between a Category 4 and Category 3 hurricane by the time it makes landfall. But yeah, thank you, Wendy, so much for that donation. It does help us out. We don't do any sponsorships on this channel. We only get, and you know, we can only pay the bills with your guys' donations and the YouTube ad revenue. So I do appreciate it a big time. It goes a very far way in helping keep the lights on in the studio. I'm from Alabama in the United States. Near the eye. So it's just like so the sustained winds with this storm is 155 miles per hour. So that's the most likely winds that are probably happening here in the eye, or it's more likely closer like that. And that's the most likely winds you will be experiencing there. But every now and then you can get a wind gust of at max up to 200 miles per hour. It's raining in Puerto Rico. Yeah, there was some rain showers there, and actually some pretty damaging storms in Puerto Rico as well. We actually had some damage reports. At least a dozen tents were damaged with strong winds, and then we had some to the east of San Juan, where a fallen tree that affected power lines in the area on PR 187. So, some of these storms, especially over here that are approaching areas like Haiti, could certainly pack a punch. So I'd watch out, even just to the north of Hurricane BERYL. Will be the impact Montego. The good news is, unless this thing, the worst case scenario is that this tracks way north for Montego Bay, and you guys get that southern portion of the eye wall, which would bring quite significant storm surge for Montego Bay. But that seems like the lowest probability. thing, but I would still prepare for that just in case. But it seems like the most likely scenario is that this goes either directly into the mountains, into southern Jamaica, or it goes south of Jamaica, like well south. So I would say this would probably be the most likely path of this storm as of right now. And if that happens, the mountains will protect you from the most damaging winds, but still some tropical storm force to hurricane force wind gusts will exist along the coastal regions here of northern Jamaica. So we'll definitely prepare for that. You're praying, yeah. Yeah, I really hope everybody in Jamaica makes it through this, and we have because the word's getting out. I mean, we're trying our best here. Everybody's talking about it on mainstream news and on independent news. So hopefully the word gets out substantially, and we can get people as prepared as possible. What's the black stuff outside of the hurricane? So the black colors on this map, that is indicating colder cloud tops associated with thunderstorm activity here about to enter into the Dominican Republic and Haiti. So some stronger storms there, and maybe even the potential for water spouts could be happening up there. You are from Jamaica, or are you in there right now? We don't need it here in the southern parishes. Yeah. Isn't the parishes? Oh, yeah. The parishes, that's what they call the cities here. Yeah, I agree. I hope this thing, the best case scenario for Jamaica, at least according to the models, would be this thing goes well south, but still some significant flooding and even winds up to hurricane force wind gusts are still going to be possible there and some storm surge. But, the best case scenario is that this thing tracks well to the south, which is still a scenario. So. Hey, thank you, Michael, Jason, and Donnie for subscribing. I do appreciate it. I'm going to get my phone up here. I do want to keep an eye on those Iowa storms, at least from my phone radar. As things will either get too clustered and not a whole lot's going to happen in Iowa, or, we could get a couple tornadic storms, potentially a couple of tornadoes. Yeah, so far I'm not seeing anything there in Iowa with any strong rotation on it right now. Got a severe thunderstorm warning just to the south and east of Iowa going towards Pleasantville. Hydrate, yes. I went to bed so dehydrated yesterday. Um, yeah, over here in this area, in Negril here, you guys do have a chance of getting some stronger winds, especially if this like tracks kind of like this, and you get that northern eye wall. Also could have some significant storm surge here near Little Bay as well if that happens. So, the best thing to do is prepare for all scenarios. Um, you know, and the latest scans here from the satellite, at least, still looks like the eye wall still, or the eye is still struggling here. It's weird. It kind of looks like we have like two eyes at the same time, but that's just some clouds going in between a disorganized eye. But yeah, it still seems like the eye is struggling here. It still seems like the storm is being impacted by the shear, but it still seems pretty strong in terms of the convection along the outside. But it still seems like the hurricane is most likely in a weakening stage at this moment. We are still waiting for the Hurricane Hunter plane to get out there and to give us a better understanding of what this thing is doing. The eye breakup, no, it's still there. It's just a little bit less organized. I'm probably going through some sort of eye wall replacement cycle here. I haven't hydrated once. Yeah, I know. It's bad, Blondie. Yeah, there's a tornado watch in Iowa. Yep. Yeah, we're monitoring. I'm monitoring it on my phone. If we start to get a bunch of rotations, we'll probably end this stream and transition to that. But as of right now, I'm not seeing anything dangerous in terms of rotation yet out there. Kind of the beginning stages. Yeah, it's probably cycling most likely. Yeah, category 3 is still can bring some very significant impacts, especially to regions like this area where your infrastructure isn't really built for a strong hurricane impact. And really, no one's infrastructure is built for category 3 to a category 4 landfall. Yeah, will be damaged the closer it gets. Yeah, so as it interacts with Jamaica, it will interact with these mountains, which should impact the storm quite significantly as it makes landfall. But again, if it makes that initial landfall as a category 4, which is still technically in the realm of possibilities, we could we will see it weaken pretty quickly to most likely a category 3 by the time it gets to the other side of the mountain. So I think category 3 status on this side of Jamaica is pretty likely. But where the question mark is will it be a category 4 or category 3 as it makes its way into this area, or does it go well to the south? So those are still the biggest questions. Thomas, Jamaica. Let me see where Thomas, Jamaica is. Thomas, Jamaica. I'm not seeing it on the map. Maybe find or maybe put another city that's a little bit bigger than that, or parish. Is it going to New Jersey? No, it's not. St. Thomas Parish. Okay. St. Thomas. I keep spelling it wrong. Here we go. See, that's over there near like Morant Bay, St. Thomas. Yeah, it seems like, there could be some impacts, especially some storm surge up there. It just depends on how north this thing tracks. There is still a possibility that you could get direct impact from the eye, or the eye could go a little bit to the south, and you could still get that northern eye wall out of the storm. Best case scenario is this thing goes south for you, but I would certainly be preparing there in St. Thomas because, there is still a possibility of a direct landfall for you. This is not going to Florida at all. Yeah, same kind of thing for Alligator Pond as well. Pretty much the same kind of words I'm going to be saying for all these areas. Just prepare for a direct land impact as as that scenario is becoming more and more is pretty likely. It's pretty likely. But there is still a 50% chance that at the very least the eye does not make direct landfall further to the south. But I would say it's about a 70% chance that's, at the very least, somewhere here in Jamaica gets a part of the eye wall from this storm. Yeah, we will have more Jamaican cams as we get closer. I have a bunch that I just need to organize. Um, Most likely I will put them on my little map. And thank you, Kimi and Cheezik, for subscribing. I do appreciate that. Thank you so much. Will Houston, Texas get an impact? It's in the realm of possibilities, but we still don't have any definite details there. I would just pay attention to future forecasts. It's not time to start preparing up there at all. Yeah, there's no really new information that I'll be able to give you guys from really here until impact. So I might transition, or not until impact, but until like we get some sort of new updates from the National Hurricane Center, which will be when the plane gets out there. So it probably won't be until 8 p.m. or 9 p.m. in Jamaica. So between like, so I'll probably issue another live stream at 9 p.m. tonight, just to give you guys another rundown of what the latest information is, and then we'll go to sleep and wake up tomorrow or bright and early for another landfall coverage. I think that's going to be the plan. The newest update. I don't think we're going to get much new information out of the Hurricane Center at 5 p.m. We might get an update then, but it probably won't be too significant given the fact that I don't think the plane's even going to make it out there unless they send another plane. Then we could get it earlier. But yeah, there's only one plane in the path or going towards Hurricane BERYL, and it's still in the Gulf of Mexico. So it'll be a while. Yeah, again, guys, we don't have any information about Texas, and all I can say, this is the wording right now that I am communicating for Texas and Louisiana areas, is that there is a shift, a shift in the trend in the models of where we're getting a lot more northerly trajectories, and that's about it. So, we'll have to monitor the trend as we get closer. And about 3 days from now, we will have, we'll have this pretty darn close to being nailed down for impacts to either Texas or Mexico. And as of right now, there's still a pretty large spread on all the spaghetti models, which essentially is showing you different scenarios of what could happen with this storm. So with that large spread, we still have to kind of just be patient and wait till it gets a little bit tighter. But I would definitely tune in to later forecasts, especially within the next couple of days, as that information will get a little bit more clear. We won't be sleeping on it. I'll be keeping my eye on it for sure. By the way, guys, if you haven't liked the stream yet, please consider liking the stream, and also please consider subscribing as well if you want coverage tomorrow in Jamaica. But I think I'm going to get off here and then prepare for Iowa. And then after that, I will probably go back live, or most likely we'll go back live at around 8 or 9 p.m. For the 8 o'clock update. That'll most likely happen because I don't think the tornado threat's going to last for too long in Iowa. It's a pretty conditional day. But yeah, are they evacuating? I know there's really not many places for them to evacuate to. I think most people are probably, if anything, they're probably telling people to go north. Go north. Because at least the mountains will shield people from it. But the hard part is that if they go north and then for some reason this thing goes north, then they'll have to go back down south. So, I think the most likely scenario is that it makes a southern impact, but there still is a small chance that it could go and do a northern impact. So it's kind of a hard situation. It's like, what do you do? I mean, there's not a whole lot of ways off the island because, like, where do you fly to? Haiti is not really a great place. Maybe you could fly. I mean, you can't fly to Puerto Rico or the Dominican Republic because, we got too much weather in the path of that. Cuba is a communist country, so you can't really fly there unless they open their borders for you guys. And I guess you could fly to Mexico. That could be in the realm of possibilities, or to the United States. But yeah, I mean that's probably pretty expensive, and there's probably not a whole lot of people that could afford a big old flight like that, and the hotels needed. So I fear that a lot of people are probably going to hunker down here with the storm. The status report on the storm is that 155 miles per hour, 200-mile-per-hour wind gusts on it. It's a category strong, category 4. Status report on these storms up here in Iowa. So we got some severe weather with these storms. We got a lot of updrafts kind of in the same area, battling for the same kinematics here. So we'll see if any of these storms can become dominant and tornadic as they push off to the north and east towards areas like Cedar Rapids, Iowa City, Ottumwa, Centerville, Trenton, Kirksville, there in Missouri and Iowa. But yeah, that's going to be it for me. Thank you, everybody that is tuned in for this update. We will do another one tonight, so make sure that you are subscribed so you get a notification for that. And also leave a like on your way out. Thank you, everybody, for your kind donations while I've been live. And also, big shout out to Blondie Help, E-Rev, and Bill for helping behind the scenes. I do appreciate it. But again, if you're in Jamaica, make sure you're charging those devices, buying some extra food and water, especially if you're in southern Jamaica. And have a plan in place to deal with the storm. I would suggest going to the northern portion of the island, but I would, you might have to go back south. It's a hard scenario. It's a hard scenario. Just make sure you're staying away from the coasts and hunker down. And I wish you guys the best of luck. We will go live. The schedule for you guys is tonight, another update, and then tomorrow morning, a live stream on landfall. But yeah, I'll see you guys probably here within the hour. We'll see what these storms do. Could be within the hour or a couple of hours, just depending on if things get serious there in Iowa. And if not, I'll see you guys for the nighttime update. But yeah, I'll see you guys in a little bit. See ya.